I have here a new camera because although I do mostly just do sound these days and I really enjoy that and that's my main focus, I still have quite a soft spot for cameras, and it's been, in fact it's what I originally went to film school, cinematography, and so I still like to nerd out on them and play around with them, and so yeah, that's I guess one reason why I sort of got this new Fujifilm camera. And so Fujifilm, I guess I haven't paid super amount of attention to, although I did some years ago have like the Fujifilm X-F1 and then later the X-Q1, which basically is the just little point and shoot camera, just because I picked it up super cheap and it was something you could easily slip in your pocket, and it actually had like a 1/1.17 inch sensor, which was super small, but like for point and shoot, kind of decent size. And yeah, I kind of like them for the time. I don't think I'd buy it now, but like it was massively cheaper than an RX100. These days, I probably wanted to just wait a little while longer for an RX100 to drop down in price, because some RX100s have like a 1-inch sensor, which is like genuinely, well, large for a point and shoot camera. So anyway, getting sidetracked, but because mostly though, I kind of didn't pay too much attention to the Fujifilm cameras because they weren't really, in at least the filmmaking world, doing as well as, say, the Panasonics, or Canon of course gets quite well known, or Sony's, or of course, heck, if even Nikon would be a better choice, especially with the Nikon D5200, which I quite like, and I got that myself, and the D850 and D750 and so forth, and D500. So yeah, I really hadn't, in general, people hadn't seen much reason to be focused on the Fujifilm cameras of interest in filmmaking. But with the X-H1, and then later on now we've got the X-T3 and T30, Fujifilm was really making big leap forwards with their cameras. So I guess maybe around about the time of the Fujifilm X-H1, I was starting to go like, oh, I wonder what other cameras Fujifilm has got in the mirrorless range. It'd be interesting to take a look at. Because, yeah, so mirrorless has been Fujifilm has been building out the range of mirrorless cameras with an APS-C or Super 35 size sensor. And so yeah, it's interesting what Fujifilm has done. They kind of ignored the full frame sized cameras where Nikon and Canon and Sony are all battling it out, and they've basically gone for the two opposite sides of they've got medium format cameras and they've got APS-C sense cameras. So if you want like really good image quality, just skip over to medium format. Well, if you want something compact and good bang for your buck, go for APS-C. So it's going to be interesting to see if Fujifilm's tactic actually plays out of, I guess, avoiding the main heated battle where the really big giants are playing in, instead of sort of attacking this problem from the either side of, smaller, more compact travel kits, or, even better quality with medium format, because, the cost of sensors are coming down and down, and so eventually you'll be able to buy a medium format camera for very similar costs to what full frame camera costs these days. And so at the moment, full frame is a bit, medium format is a bit prohibitively expensive, and most people just buy full frame instead to get so-called best quality. But when it gets to the point that you can just buy medium format, maybe lots of people will just choose to buy the medium format instead of the full frame camera, and by having built up the ecosystem and system over all these years, Fujifilm will then be taking advantage to have taken a lead over the competition. And of course, they'll have the opposite side covered with the smaller size. Panasonic is kind of doing something similar but less extreme. They're kind of doing their full frame cameras now with the Panasonic S1 with that new L mount, and you've got the Micro Four Thirds cameras at the other side that are much more compact and portable for travel. Anyways, that's some crystal ball gazing, wondering about myself as to the future. Going back to my point about, I started to look around a bit as to what Fujifilm cameras there were perhaps that I could consider the older models pick up cheap. So yeah, at the time, I pretty much had tried every mirrorless system at some point or another. I had Samsung and Sony and Micro Four Thirds. At that point, when the Fujifilm X-H1 had come out, we hadn't yet seen the new Canon or Nikon Z mount come out yet. And of course, I'm ignoring like Pentax Q and Nikon 1, which are like teeny systems that are now extinct. Anywho, so obviously these other cameras didn't have quite the recognition or the video quality that the Fujifilm X-H1 and so forth is getting, but they're also going to be like super cheap, so like a nice way to just dip my toe in and like dabble around with the system, I thought. And I was surprised to like just how extremely cheap some of these cameras could be. I was looking at, say, the X-A2, which is like the one before this, and I was saying like these are going like super low prices on eBay. And so yeah, I was thinking almost if I want like a casual camera to bring around, or when I'm out for drinks, or just something to play around with in the system, especially like they've got quite this nice sort of vintage retro style to them. It feels quite nice in the hand. So I thought, yeah, why not pick up one of these? And then I sort of waited around, and eventually, actually, I noticed that even the X-A3, the one I ended up getting, was coming to show at some very affordable prices too. And this has the benefit of that all-important selfie screen. Aha! So I can flip that up back at me and see what I'm filming myself, like I'm doing at the moment. Although I actually was using my iPad with my Panasonic G6 the camera, which I'm actually finding like slightly distracting. I'm kind of thinking like maybe there's a bad idea because the screen is like much bigger, and I'm kind of looking like way down there to where I put my iPad, instead of normally my screen is obviously the flip south in G6 and it's almost kind of down the barrel. So hindsight. Anyway, but yeah, I'm probably not going to use this really for vlogging, because it does miss like one really big feature, which, as me, who's a bit lazy and wants to whip it out quick, it has no mic input. And so I was kind of thinking to myself, like, maybe I should splurge out for the X-A5, which actually does have a mic input in it. And that's the next one, the newer one after this. For some reason, they skipped the whole X-A4. It's a common thing that quite a few of these Japanese companies have skipped like that before, because it like means death or whatever. But not all cases. Like we've got the GH4, of course. Anyway, so but yeah, the X-A5 is the latest model in the X-A series, so it's too overpriced. But this one, yeah, I picked it up for 115 American. I think partly because also it's got this little bit garish American flag printed on it, and so yeah, there you go. You can see the stars and bangle stripes on it. So yeah, maybe that's how come I managed to pick it up for only 115 American, which is like dirt cheap. And another factor that kind of swayed me a little bit as well is when I was looking around, I want some kind of like wide angle lens that'll be very versatile. This here's a 25mm f1.8 lens. It's C mount, but it's a C mount lens that covers this APS-C sensor. And I picked up this lens for all of, I think it was like $30 American, no, $33 American. And then of course we've got the little adapter underneath here for C mount to the Fuji X mount, and that was only $2 American. And I've also picked up the Nikon to X mount adapter as well for $6 American, because I've got heaps of Nikon lenses, so if I really want to play around with some other lenses on this, I can do that as well. And then I spent like just another like $10 whatever just on getting this brown leather case around the body and the strap here. And so yeah, I quite like that factor. So sort of, it adds a bit more. I guess it'll look after it a bit. One thing I don't like is that the case bit seems to be rubbing against the bottom here, but when I try to open this out, but I don't think it's too much of an issue, so I think it'll be okay. And when you screw it on the bottom, it's actually using like a screw here, so you can still, it's tapped inside with another screw inside, so you can still attach this to a tripod if you want to. What can I say? It doesn't actually come with a charger for the battery. It comes with a USB port and a USB cable, so you can charge it up over USB, which actually is like a good thing. I mean, it would have been nice if it had a special dedicated charger for the battery, But no, that's handy. It means I can always charge this up if I'm on the go easily, because I'll have the same charge I usually charge my phone with. On which point I actually got myself a new phone, which might not be quite as crap the video quality as before, so I might do a little bit more phone vlogging as well. And where were we? So yeah, I guess the good thing about charging over USB, I don't need to be worried about trying to get out the battery from within the case, because hey, you've got easy access still to the charging. They need to take the battery out. Although you do need to do that if you want to get the memory card out, so you have to take this off. However, if you just want to grab a couple of photos, it's not a big deal because it's got an app for it. So on your, I think it's both Apple and for my Android, because I've got it definitely on my Android phone. You can then just grab wirelessly over Wi-Fi the files you have onto it, your phone, and then instantly upload it to Instagram or what have you. Just like I have right now, I was saying before, I've got the Panasonic app running with this. I can't say too much about the app. I can say it's simply enough the app I can use it while drunk. But yeah, I have found that it's actually quite tricky to focus this lens manual focus, because I don't have like focus peaking, I don't have punch to focus. So these seem to be like some quite big omissions that this older Fujifilm doesn't have when trying to manual focus. So, I mean, I haven't properly dug through the manual, maybe I'm missing something there, but so far I can't see it. One workaround I've had is just like go burst mode, and eventually like one of them might be in focus. Anyway, I might say about the lens it does seem to be quite prone to flaring. Initially it was seeming like, I think maybe more of a, when I was shooting on it on the weekend, it seemed like the flare was kind of like a haze-like flare, which I don't really like, but then, I don't know, I was shooting with it last night and it was getting more like the streaky flares, which at least it's maybe a cool effect, it can be a bit more artistic. But yeah, it's probably just the quality of the lens that it flares so much. And I kind of think like maybe if I switch out the hood for it to a different one that's not quite, a bit more enclosed and more shields it might help. Because sometimes just cupping my hand will help take care of those flares. On topic of light, it has got a pop-out flash. I quite like how you can angle this flash. So rather than just sort of pointing it straight out like this, you can like bounce it off a ceiling, for instance, if you've got like a low white ceiling just above you. Back when I was shooting with my Panasonic GX1, it had the same thing. So that's definitely like much more useful than like the flashes you might get on DSLR or like on my Panasonic G6, which kind of pops up and it's locked in that one way, you can't move it around. The downside, of course, is that it's a bit more flimsy, and those other flashes like you with DSLRs, the nice thing about them is you could like slide into the hot shoe, it'll add a little bit of fusion to it. So yeah, pros and cons. What else can I say about this? So it does have like what's regarded as pretty decent 1080 video in it. I mean, the newer one, X-A5, does have 4K, but it's 4K at 15 frames per second, I think. So like, you're not going to bother with that. So yeah, but it has 1080 at 60 FPS, so you can do slow motion with this. And yeah, so it also has the same it has what I think probably is a similar sensor, because it has a 24 megapixel sensor, which is quite large and it's quite good at low light. So yeah, it's I mean, for $115, how can you really say go wrong? So quite happy with it. Anyway, I'm definitely rambling on quite a bit more as I do, so I will leave it at that. Happy with it. Get one yourself. See if you can beat my price of $115. If you wait long enough, you will. Goodbye.